backlog of these emotions coming up when you go back, you're also learning, how do I deal with stuff as it comes up in day-to-day life? How can I be a more compassionate, loving human through using those techniques to start taking responsibility for how I act or react when people speak to me in this way, or stuff like that. So it's a really jam-packed program. We do 14 additional plant medicines in addition to the ayahuasca. And then we have an integration program included where we do a follow-up. We do a group integration call and a one-on-one integration call, as well as a bunch of material that we give you. And then we're also available for people who want to continue their integration work. We're available for people to purchase more integration sessions there afterwards. And we provide so much free content every month in our newsletter about healing trauma, about integrating, about all these other things, podcasts like this. And we are just there, and we're always open, and we work with people online after the retreats, before and afterwards. So I would say we have a really holistic program to help you go through it, and there's no stone left unturned in the process for you. And we enable you to heal in whichever way that fits for you. When you come, if you don't want to drink all the ayahuasca, you don't have to drink every ceremony. If you don't want to do one of the plant medicines, there's no pressure. If you just want to do partake in a little bit, that's totally fine. We just give everyone a choice to partake as much as they want, and we just make sure that everyone is safe and secure throughout the whole process.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, man. It's a very intensive type of program. It seems like you got a lot of things going on, and seems pretty cool. So besides you and your wife, how many other people, and I know they used to do it with like shamans and stuff, and when you first went, you probably had a shaman of some sort. Are you like now the new shaman who's basically helping people through this? Like you have the same role as that? And besides you and your wife, how many other people is it like you doing that same type of thing?
Yeah, well, the word that we use is curandero, which is Spanish for healer, which can be described as a shaman, but shaman has so many connotations with it in this kind of new age that we live in. Yeah. So in our 2-week healing programs, we work with a great Shipibo curandero called Arias, and we have a Shipibo vegetalista called Emilio, and they lead the ceremonies and prepare plant medicines that we've just talked about on our 2-week healing programs. I also work as a curandero alongside them, which means that in the ceremony, we're singing in the Shipibo lineage, which I'm trained in, the Noyorao lineage of Shipibo curanderismo to be specific. And we are then helping others throughout the ceremony, keeping them safe, helping them to the toilet, helping them come down, helping them process things throughout the ceremony. So we are completely caring for you. We also have 3 assistant healers that work alongside us, and we do our very best to just create that safe, loving environment. And the feedback that we get is just that even though people have come in that were scared, people are just like, oh my, you guys have got it covered. I can relax. Yeah. So that's the experience that we create just to help people.
That's pretty cool. And out of the 2 weeks, out of the 2 weeks that you're doing the whole process, how many of those days, so say it's 14 days, how many of the 14 days are you actually doing the ayahuasca? Is it every single day for the 14 days and you're having like that 5 hours set aside or 6 hours set aside, or is it just one big trip of ayahuasca and then the other ones are kind of the other secondary, say, medicines?
No, we have 6 ceremonies. So you have 6 ayahuasca ceremonies. Yep. So it's like 3 a week, and that is a good balance between fitting as many in as is necessary for you to get a good experience of healing. But again, you don't want to like overload the system and then just be like drinking ayahuasca every night, because we have a big focus on the integration as well, the integration of that.
Yeah. Could somebody theoretically or actually legitimately go crazy if they did take ayahuasca every day and just like lived off ayahuasca?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be something that I would recommend. I think that same thing with firstly, like ayahuasca and plant medicines are sacred. So going into that healing setting with the intention of I'm here to heal, to learn, to grow for my highest healing and good, to be a better person, to be more loving, compassionate, kind, whatever it is, going in with that process and then being aware that if perhaps you've got an addictive personality and that you're coming into ayahuasca to heal addictions, if you're starting to feel like you need to drink ayahuasca every day, perhaps addictions are telling you that you need to drink ayahuasca every day. So just being aware of that. And yeah, for me, it's definitely not necessary to drink every day. As training in the tradition, we have a 4-week program as well, which I lead on my own without Arias, without Amelia, but we have our whole healing team alongside us, all of our assistant healers and the cooking staff and everyone else. Then we are teaching people how to connect with plant spirits, how to communicate with plant spirits, and we're teaching people like the Icaros, the healing songs, and that's a more in-depth process which has fasting, which has some more isolation in that. And there we do 9 ceremonies in that setting, and that's a different program. That's called a Noya Rao initiation theater.
Nice, man. This is all so interesting, Michael. And so just kind of wrapping things up in a moment, I do want to ask you, though, kind of like quick little question. What does the actual ayahuasca taste like? I've heard people that when you drink it, might even when like Joe Rogan and one of them guys, like you drink the ayahuasca, it tastes horrible and you throw up or something afterwards, but then after that you feel great. Is it like that, or am I thinking of something? Like, what's the actual taste of it? Is it like tasty, or does it taste horrible?
It depends, really. It depends on the brew, because there's different brews. Some can taste a little bit more bitter. Some can taste more sweet. The ayahuasca we have here at the minute is pretty sweet. It's not as bad as it's made out to be.
Yeah.
What kind of happens generally is people come and they're like, oh my gosh, I've heard that this ayahuasca tastes so horrible, and they drink it and they're like, that was anticlimactic, that was fine. What can kind of happen is that people have a body remembrance to the ayahuasca, and perhaps if they've had a tough experience, you kind of like relate some of that to the taste in the ayahuasca. But yeah, sometimes it can taste a little bit rough, but like the taste is gone after a few minutes. You can swirl your mouth out of water, you spit it out, and the level of healing that you get when you've thrown up, there's a whole series of healings called purging, which you might be throwing up, or diarrhea. That's the body actually being cleaned with the plant medicine. So you're having the cells being cleaned, the body being cleaned, the tissues being cleaned, the organs being cleaned, the mind being cleaned. So that when you describe feeling good, it's not throwing up like, say, if you've had food poisoning or you've drank too many beers. That's like, oh my gosh, I feel horrible. This is like a release. So it's like someone's had like 100 pounds on your shoulders, and then you've thrown up, and then that 100 pounds has disappeared. So you can feel just lighter, and it's life-changing. Just like the amount of people that I've seen, their lives change infinitely for the better through ayahuasca and the plant medicines. It's just incredible. It's just really incredible. So for those difficult times that we go through, on the other side of that is just such an expanded and open experience that's just really, really, really immensely amazing.
Yeah, this whole thing is incredible, man. And like I said, I'm kind of on the fence with it. So maybe with a little bit more time, I'll be heading down to Peru, because I told you before I wanted to go down there anyways in 2020, but it kind of got, obviously with everything happening, kind of got delayed. So maybe in the next year or two, I'll shoot down there and see what we can do. But man, it's been an awesome interview. What is and by the way, I'm very interested in the channeling aspect too. So even regardless of the ayahuasca, which is incredibly interesting and all that stuff, just the channeling aspect as well, I find to be incredibly interesting, and a whole different thing as well. Maybe we can get you back on and talk more about that at some point. But just sort of wrapping up, man, what is a final send-off takeaway message you'd like to leave the Elite Man audience, and then a place our listeners can check out your work, the website, and the programs that you offer for this?
Yeah, absolutely. Firstly, I just want to say, Justin, thanks so much for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'd love to come back and talk more about the channeling or anything else another time. But for today, I would just say that for anyone who's struggling out there, for any man or anyone else who's listening, in fact, that's just having a hard time, just recognize that there's help available. Recognize that we have tools like ayahuasca, whether it's psychotherapy or whatever it is, that there's help available. And a big step, and sometimes it's really tough for a man to do, and I know myself, is just to say, yeah, perhaps I could use some help. So there's plenty of resources out there, and we have resources on our website, which is www.casagalactica.com, where we have our online healing sessions. So even if you're not interested in coming to hear us in the jungle, we have healing sessions that we can do remotely online on video calls, that we do a lot of our work, and we have great results. But for anyone who's suffering, remembering that love is on its way, and we're all going through big changes, and we're being challenged to question our own identities in this world that we live in here for. And I know for someone who's changed my identity over and over and over again, and keep letting go, the more that we can be authentic and loving and show up as that loving man in the world, it's not a weakness. It's just a process that we're going through. And the more that we can begin to connect together and encourage the healing of others and encourage ourselves to feel these emotions and heal these emotions, then it's not going to be stigmatized. And we're just going to actually we're just going to all start feeling better. And we're all just going to start doing the things that we really love. We're going to start having the relationships that really fulfill us. We're going to start working in the jobs that we really light up when we go there. And we're just going to thank God I'm alive, rather than that kind of grind that perhaps all of us have related to sometimes. So just trust me, I was a drug addict, I was a DJ, I was doing all the things, I was living the life, I was living the kind of rock star life, and I thought that was it. And I didn't feel all the shit because I was just like in so much pain, numbing it all. And I went through an awakening process, really, really tough, really, really hard. I'd do it 100 times over if it was necessary to feel as good as I feel now. So it's available to all of us. We're here to help. Check out our website. Check out our ayahuasca plant spirit healing programs. My wife's also a great intuitive medium. We have a whole host of free content that we do. So subscribe to our newsletter at casagalactica.com. And we're here to help. And if anyone's just got a personal question for me, you can just reach out on our contact form and I'll reply as quick as I can. And if you want to have a chat with me, just reach out on the website and we can arrange a little call. So thank you so much, everyone. Super appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate it, guys. Make sure you check it out, casagalactica.com. I'll link that up in the show notes as well, so you can click on the links. Man, it's been a real pleasure having you on, Michael. Really do appreciate your time, and I learned so much personally. And I'd love to have you back on the show, so I'll have to talk to you soon, man.
Thanks so much, brother. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to come back.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. But before you go, there's one last thing I'd like you to do, and that's this. Subscribe to our podcast right now if you haven't already. By subscribing to the podcast, you get every single episode the minute they're released. Get all of our Elite Man podcast episodes and all of our world-class advice absolutely free. Subscribe now if you haven't already and become an Elite Man today. And yes, if you do love the podcast, leave us an amazing review. We really do appreciate it.